The chandelier lights glittered above me as I sat at the long table, smiling through the ache in my cheeks, pretending everything was perfect. Tonight was supposed to be mine. The night my fiancé slipped a ring on my finger in front of both families. The night people toasted to my future. The night I finally felt like I belonged. But I should have known better. I excused myself quietly, slipping down the hallway toward the back of the venue to catch my breath. My heart was pounding, my palms slick. The dress I had spent months saving for felt too tight, too heavy, as if it were strangling me. Please subscribe to our new channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. That's when I heard them. My mother's voice, sharp and familiar, drifted from the corner near the kitchen. "God, she's so dumb," she muttered, her words dripping with venom. "I can't believe someone actually gave her a ring. What a waste." My stomach dropped. And then my father's laugh followed, deep and cruel. "A ring? She doesn't deserve a ring. She deserves a collar. That's all she'll ever be, someone's obedient mutt." The words cut through me like glass. I froze, my nails digging into the wood of the doorframe as their laughter echoed, each sound another dagger. I had always known I was the scapegoat, the forgotten one, the afterthought compared to my sister, but hearing it, here, on the night that was supposed to be mine, made my chest collapse in on itself. I pressed a hand to my mouth, fighting the urge to cry out. Guests laughed from the main hall, glasses clinking, completely unaware that in the hallway behind them, my parents were shredding me apart like it was a private joke. "I told you," my mom continued, her tone laced with smug satisfaction. "She's not marriage material, she's just an embarrassment we dress up for nights like this." Dad chuckled again. "And the poor fool who thinks he's marrying her? He'll find out soon enough. Dogs don't suddenly become wives." Their voices faded as they walked away, leaving me pinned against the wall, my breath shallow, my heart hammering like it wanted to break free. I stared down at the diamond on my finger. The symbol that had felt so heavy with meaning now burned against my skin. Every sparkle of the stone mocked me. My parents didn't see me as a bride. They didn't see me as a woman worth loving. To them, I wasn't even human. I was a dumb animal to be leashed, trained, discarded. I walked back into the hall, my face pale, my smile gone. Rachel, my sister, was at the center of the crowd as always, laughing, soaking up attention in her glittering dress. She caught my eyes and smirked like she already knew what I had heard, like maybe she'd been standing there too. When the toast began, Dad raised his glass, his smile wide and proud for the audience. "To my daughter," he said, the same man who had just spat venom minutes earlier. "May her future be bright." The guests clapped. My mother dabbed at her eyes as though she were overwhelmed with emotion. My fiancé, Daniel, squeezed my hand gently, oblivious to the poison running just beneath the surface. I raised my own glass with trembling fingers, my throat tight. My lips curved into a smile, but inside, something was snapping. Clean and sharp, like a bone breaking, because they thought I hadn't heard. But I had. And the words, "she doesn't deserve a ring, just a collar," kept replaying in my mind, carving themselves into my memory. I could almost feel the metal of that collar around my neck, heavy and suffocating. They thought I'd accept it. They thought I'd keep being their dog, dragging myself back to them no matter how many times they spat on me. But they were wrong. As the clapping and laughter echoed around me, I lowered my glass, eyes fixed on the chandelier above. For the first time in my life, I felt a cold, steady fire rising in my chest. If they wanted to call me a dog, then I would show them how it feels to be bitten. The morning after the party, the house smelled like roses and spilled champagne, but all I could taste was the metallic echo of their words. "She doesn't deserve a ring, just a collar." Every time I glanced at my finger, the diamond felt like a chain, not a promise. Daniel called me quiet over breakfast, his tone puzzled but not worried. "Nerves, maybe?" he asked with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Big night for you." He didn't know. He hadn't heard. He hadn't seen the way my parents smirked as if they had rehearsed their lines about me being nothing. I wanted to tell him. I wanted to open my mouth and pour out everything, the hallway, the laughter, the collar, but something inside me clenched shut, because if he believed them, if he brushed it off as just their way, I'd be alone in a new kind of hell. So I stayed silent. By the afternoon, Mom stopped by my apartment. She didn't knock, she never did. She walked in like she owned the place, heels clicking, perfume filling the room. She looked me up and down, eyes sharp. "You embarrassed us last night," she said, tossing her purse on the couch. "Embarrassed you?" I choked out, finally finding my voice. "What about what you said? What Dad said?" Her laugh cut me off, cold and practiced. "Oh, so you were eavesdropping, always sneaking around like a stupid little girl. You heard wrong. Or maybe you heard right and you finally understand what you are." My chest burned. Before I could answer, Dad stepped in through the doorway, loosening his tie. "We saved you," he said casually like it was a fact. "You'd be nothing if it weren't for us. Don't forget that." He glanced at the ring on my finger and smirked. "He'll figure it out soon enough. Don't say I didn't warn him." They left me standing in my own living room with their words echoing louder than the slam of the door. My knees gave out and I sank onto the floor, shaking, clutching my hand until the diamond cut into my palm. That night I didn't sleep. I lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment, their laughter, their sneers, the way they carried on as if I didn't exist except as a punchline. By dawn, something shifted. The tears dried. The fear shrank. In its place was a cold, clear thought. They had always believed I'd crawl back, no matter what, that I'd beg for scraps of approval, that I'd swallow humiliation forever. But they were wrong. I sat up, the early light spilling across the room, and for the first time, I didn't feel weak. I felt sharp, like glass. I thought of their smiles, their pride, their desperate need to be seen as untouchable. That was what they lived for. Not me, not family, but their image. And I knew exactly where to strike. Because if they thought I was dumb, they'd never see it coming. The weeks after the engagement party passed like I was walking through smoke. People congratulated me, hugged me, sent flowers. Daniel's friends toasted to our future. My parents smiled in every photo, raising glasses, playing the perfect roles. To anyone else, it was flawless. But I knew the truth. And once you hear the truth, you can't unhear it. I stopped looking at the ring the way I used to. Instead of a promise, it became a reminder. Instead of hope, it became fuel. Because every time it caught the light, I saw their faces, the smirk on Mom's lips, the gleam in Dad's eyes when he said collar. So I started building something they couldn't laugh off. It began quietly. A copy of Dad's company files borrowed from the unlocked study drawer. Old emails from Mom's laptop printed and tucked into a binder. Screenshots of Rachel's messages to friends, mocking me, mocking Daniel, mocking anyone who wasn't her. For years, they thought I was too dumb to notice, too soft to fight back. But dumb girls learn. Dumb girls listen. Dumb girls collect. By the time Rachel announced her pre-wedding brunch for her birthday, it didn't matter what the occasion was, she just wanted attention. I was ready. My parents were glowing as always. Mom bought a new gown. Dad rehearsed a toast. They thought they would shine. And I was going to let them shine, just before I burned it all down. The brunch was at the same hall as my engagement party. Chandeliers, champagne, rows of tables lined with white flowers. As I walked in, conversations stalled. My parents' smiles faltered. Rachel's glass froze halfway to her lips. They hadn't expected me to show. I walked straight to the front, heels steady, my binder tucked under my arm. "Since everyone's gathered," I said, my voice calm but cutting through the chatter, "I think it's the perfect time for another toast." Guests chuckled nervously, waiting for Dad to roar or Mom to sneer. But neither moved. They just stared, frozen. I set the binder on the podium and opened it. The first page slid onto the projector screen behind me. Dad's bank records. Transfers hidden from the company, money funneled into offshore accounts. Gasps rippled. "The man of integrity," I said softly. "The hero of 40 years. Or maybe just a thief in a suit." Dad lunged forward, but I raised a hand. "Sit down. It's only just begun." The next page appeared. Mom's emails. Gossip, lies, sneers about relatives she hugged in person. "My sweet, perfect family," she had typed once. "If only they knew how disgusting they really are." Murmurs turned into gasps. People shifted in their seats, staring at her. Rachel's face went pale. She hissed, "Turn it off," but her voice cracked. The final set of pages appeared. Rachel's own messages, laughing about my wedding, bragging that she would make sure no one ever saw me as more than the dog of the family. Screenshots of her mocking Daniel behind his back. The hall fell silent. And then the recording. My phone connected to the speakers, and their voices filled the room. Mom's cruel hiss, "She's so dumb." Dad's laugh, "She doesn't deserve a ring, just a collar." Rachel's sneer, "Dogs don't become brides." The silence that followed was heavier than stone. Guests shifted uncomfortably. Some shook their heads. Others stared in disgust. I looked at my parents, my voice low but clear. "You called me dumb. You called me a dog. Tonight I don't need to fight back with fists or tears. I just have to let your own words choke you." Dad's face was red, his jaw clenched, sweat dripping down his temples. Mom grabbed his arm, whispering frantically, but the whispers didn't matter. Rachel sobbed, her mascara streaking down her face as she screamed at me, "You ruined everything!" I closed the binder, tucked it under my arm, and stepped down from the stage. People moved aside, parting like water as I walked. No one clapped, no one stopped me. But every pair of eyes turned, not to me, but to them. And for the first time in my life, the shame wasn't mine. It was theirs. As I pushed the doors open, the morning light hit my face, warm and clean. I slid the ring off my finger, stared at it one last time, then dropped it into the nearest trash can. It was never meant to be a promise. It was a chain. And I wasn't wearing chains anymore. Behind me, their empire cracked. Their friends whispering, their reputations collapsing, their perfect image burning down with their own words. They wanted me on a collar. Instead, I left them in one.